everybody. Another episode of On the Back Ash. And said, joined with me is Chris, Zach, and Will. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm good.
Well,
Good.
The hurricane has now passed us.
The first
finally.
one.
So the first one of the three that are going to happen.
Jeez. First off, let me just say, anybody that listens to us in any area affected by the hurricane, prayers up to you guys. Hope everybody's safe. Check in.
For real.
Let us know you're good. I know they're saying you cannot access the city of Asheville, North Carolina right now.
It's crazy, man. Like some of those videos of those bridges just completely just...
Or like where the interstate's just gone.
Yeah. Insanity, dude.
And I know, there was, and that's in their area, and in some other areas, I know there's a bridge that collapsed somewhere in Tennessee. Eastern Kentucky was without power for, most of the eastern side of the state was without power for a while.
They're just now getting out over the flood. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Oh, man, that was, man. Kentucky's had a stretch, man.
Yeah.
Between tornadoes and floods the past few years.
Yeah.
It's been rough. So thinking of all you guys, and hopefully this next bout that's about to come through is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, for real. I will say this marching season for the group Zach and I work with is one of the most odd ones we've ever had. We have had a competition where we were scored one time this year. It was week 1.
Yep.
Week 2 got rained out. We were about to warm up, got rained out. Week 3 was our home show, and then this week, both shows got canceled.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But
I know Avon canceled their BOA show.
Yeah. Louisville should have canceled theirs.
Yeah, they moved it inside.
Yeah.
They moved it inside. 3 bands were there. 3.
I think I saw one contest actually happen besides BOA. Was at South Laurel or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the only one in the state this weekend. So, and it's weird because next weekend there's only one. Or this weekend, I should say. It's, and the problem has been, it's not just been shows being rained out, but like the weather has been either way too hot. I know 1 week the heat got everybody, and then this past week the rain got everybody. So it's, unless you have a small band or inside facility where you can rehearse, a lot of bands are stuck. I know there's a couple of bands at our show that have not got a competitive run outside yet.
It's insane, man.
Like our show was the last one before we go to regionals, because fall break is a thing for us. I don't know if that is all across the country, but some schools get 1 week off, some schools get 2, and a lot of the times bands don't go out the weekends on each side, so families can go on vacation. So, and then the regionals are the next week. So,
I mean, I've said this, and not just because of this year, but I definitely think we need to push regionals and semifinals and finals back. That's just me. But,
yeah, and part of that is it's stadium availability.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
We're at the mercy of college football in our state.
If only we knew someone that could have influence on that.
Well, that's not influence. That's you take what you can get.
If only we knew someone that had some position.
I know, right?
That could.
Well,
because then
he can suggest it till he's blue in the face, but until the old heads vote it through, it doesn't matter.
100%.
Yeah, it's the marching band committee. They make the rules, and they're going to want it at college university. One of the biggest things that I hear people complain about is, they're just like, well, there's not enough. I want to be in they want to end in like a big stadium, and they want all this hoopla. I'm just like, that's cool, but Kentucky ain't got no domes. There's only a finite amount of stadiums in that could hold a state-worthy event.
Yeah.
So you're either going to Louisville or Lexington or Bowling Green or EKU, which nobody wants to go to EKU for that. Murray is straight up. I don't. And it's way far west. They try to keep it centrally located.
Mm-hmm.
And then are there 5 schools in the Murray State area that could hold 5 different classes? It's a lot of logistics that they go into it that sometimes people fail to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to other folks from other states, like we're one of the few MEAs in the country that like sanction and host like a marching band state championship. Most everybody else it's done through a different organization. And Kentucky has tried that a couple of times. Or organizations in Kentucky have tried that a couple of times, and it never works because then people realize how much work it is.
Right.
So, it's you have to be smart about it. And Dr. Strobey's one of the smartest men I know.
That's why he has a helicopter and a private jet.
Right. So hopefully we can stay dry long enough to actually have some contests and people can get out and practice.
Yeah, we were very blessed that
Yes,
we had a camp day. We have an indoor facility that we have available to us. We actually got to rehearse on Saturday and get some work in because
needed.
like I said, we've only performed once in front of a judging. Well, actually twice. We count our home show, but I mean it's.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. I was going to be all in them kids' face all day.
Scared.
Like, what are you doing to my music?
Knees clinking. Yeah, I made it this way. You just grab mallets. These are mine now. Here, what's that?
And then, Will, have y'all started? It's late September.
Yeah, their first show was yesterday.
Good Lord.
The only worst thing they're dealing with is rapid coldness. Like, it's pretty cold.
Mm.
The sun does come out, but I've spoke about this for I don't know how as long as I've been here. There's zero in between. It's either scorching hot or super cold. And the moment the sun goes away, if there's any clouds or anything, it's immediately cold. And I've told people this before. I had a friend come up here. We went all through downtown Seattle and everywhere. And I showed up with pants on and brought a hoodie because I knew better. He showed up with shorts and short sleeve shirt. And I said, dude, because I met him at the hotel. I was like, I'm trying to tell you, bro, you're going to want one. He didn't want to listen. That sun went away because it was hot. No joke. It was hot. So I was hot for a minute in them pants. When that sun went away, because and you in the city and there ain't number of wind tunnels everywhere, yeah. It's night and day. I told him, I was like, dude, there's no transition. It's immediately cold.
No such thing as cool or warm.
Not at all. And it's not even funny. I sat outside in my own apartment here before, and I got some sun. I'm trying to get a little bit of vitamin D. Sat out there for about 30, 40 minutes or so. And I seen the sun or the shade coming towards me, and instantly cooler. I was like, this makes zero like scientific sense. Like this state needs to be studied because this isn't real. It can't be real up here because I was sweating in that chair, and I did it on purpose, and I stayed out there on purpose. Like I was hot. I took a shower afterwards, and I'm out in the sun on purpose because getting vitamin D here is like a needle in a haystack. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And as soon as that shade came around, I took maybe about 5 minutes of it, and I was like, I gotta go inside. I'm gonna sit up here and catch pneumonia. It's that instant. I was like, it don't make no sense, dude. But they had their first show. Usually it's pretty good. I'm debating on trying to catch a Portland one. They got 2 in one day. They got one in Seattle, or not Seattle. It's close to Seattle. I think Edmonds is or somewhere around there, but it's in Washington. And then another one in Portland on the same day. I'm thinking about taking a little bit of drive and go ahead and go to the Portland one.
Mhm.
Might catch Kamak, some of them. I think that's the one they're going to. But we'll see about that. But that won't happen until not this coming up weekend, but the weekend after, I think.
Right.
So I don't think their last contest is until November,
February, like February.
February of next year or something, I think. I don't know. It changes every year. I could have swore last year it ended early.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
I'm sure they have something that they base their season off of around too.
Probably. Yeah. Indoor program is the same way. I'm just glad their indoor program is not like New York's where it's like after WGI. That's like, nobody want to do all that.
That's weird. So, yeah, that was your weekly weather and margin report. So, all right. So Chris has a little something for us. I have no idea what it is. So, I'm gonna give it to Chris and let Chris do what he do.
Yeah. Okay, so we've actually talked about this quite a bit on here, and I thought it'd be good, kind of just have a little bit of fun. These are completely hypothetical. I just want to make sure I say this now because I don't want people with pitchforks and all this kind of stuff coming in and all this kind of stuff.
What?
This is for fun. Okay, this is all it is, and we can talk about if it would work and all this kind of stuff. So we have talked about this idea of relegation and promotion in DCI and like how cool it might be to see how that works. So I went ahead and made kind of a basic kind of structure and what that would look like based off of this year's stuff. So I got to share my screen with you all so you all can see this right here. So can you all see that?
See, this is what happens when you're a suit. Everything's a PowerPoint now.
Listen, man. Hey, listen. It was the easiest way to make it, and it was.
You made a whole slideshow.
I did, man. Listen.
Hold on, let me get my notebook.
Right?
Is there a test? Is this for a grade?
It is. So at the end, there's a Google form that you have to do.
Docs and take notes.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, all this stuff. So I decided it'd be kind of cool to kind of look at what a relegation looks like. So if you don't know anything about relegation and promotion, it's really big in soccer. If you watch the English Premier League, it's like a huge thing where groups and football clubs, they can be demoted down to the division below them or promoted up to the division above them. And in Premier League and soccer and stuff, a lot of that is tied to like sponsorships and things like that. So it is a really big deal if you can not make it, right? So if you get relegated, you lose a lot of money and that kind of stuff, right? So I just kind of took those rules and I forgot to add one in here because this would make it even better what I was thinking of. But DCI would go from having two classes, so open and world. So I'm not talking about all age. All age is not part of this, so they're on their own somewhere. But if you wanted to bring them in, maybe you could do that. You just have to change all the rules. But you go from world and open to 3 divisions, and I just made it world, open, and A, just something that we're kind of used to knowing and familiar about, and can use that lingo there. So what I did was world division would have 15 cores in it. That would be the maximum amount of cores that can be in the world division. Open division would have 11 cores, and A division would have 10 cores. And I put down there any core that's added in the years after that would automatically go into A division, and then you kind of work your way up through that. Relegation and promotion. Bottom 3 cores of the world and open divisions would be relegated to the division below them. So if you're in the bottom 3 of the world division, you would go down to open. And then if you're the bottom 3 in open, you would go down to A. And then opposite of that would be the promotion side. So the top 3 cores in open and A will be promoted to the division above. So if you're one of the top 3 groups in open class, you would go to world class, and the same thing for A. And what I did for the rankings, I literally used the DCI power rankings that they have. So it's the average of the last 3 scores. So that's what we would do for this as well. And I forgot to add this, and now I'm upset that I did not add this.
Wow.
If you are in open or A division, you cannot compete in worlds. It is strictly a world class event. So world class would not have a semifinals or finals. I mean, quarterfinals and semifinals. You would just have a finals event where all 15 cores will perform that night. So that's what I have for that. So that I forgot to add that in there. With that. Okay, everyone got that one so far?
Mm-hmm.
Clear as mud.
All right. So here is the finals rankings for World and Open combined. So I took the power rankings for World Class and the power rankings for Open Class, and I combined them. Now, I understand some people might be like, well, some people didn't compete at World Championships, blah, blah, blah. I'm just using what I have here. So here, there are 36 cores in World and Open division. So you can World and Open class right now. So I'll put all those together so you can kind of see what that looks like, right? So 36. So Blue Coast being number 1, all the way to our good friends BDC at 36 there. So that is the current rankings that we have there. All right. Everyone ready for the reveal?
Oh, yeah.
Ready? This is what it would look like if we did relegation and promotion. So your world division would be Blue Coats for this coming season would be Blue Coats, Boston Crusaders, BD, Phantom, Crown, Vanguard, Mandarins, Blue Stars, Colts, Troopers, Cavies, Madison Scouts, Blue Knights, Pacific Crest, and Crossmen. That would be your 15 cores in world division based on last year's rankings. Your open division would be Spirit, Music City, Spartans, the Academy, BDB, Gold, Genesis, Columbians, Battalion, Cascades, and River City Rhythm. And then your A division would be Jersey Surf, Raiders, Colt Cadets, 7th Regiment, the Stentinors, Impulse, Guardians, Golden Empire Vessel, and BDC. So there we go. So this is what if we did a relegation season based off of last year's results, this is what it would look like. And so what would happen is that they would compete all year, and then the bottom 3 in the world division would be relegated down to the open, and the top 3 in the open division would be promoted up. So what do you all think? First thoughts, initial thoughts. Once again, this is all hypothetical. This is not happening. This is just something that I thought would be interesting and kind of cool to look at and see what that would look like if you did a division relegation approach to DCI.
So I've said this needs to be, I know we're drum corps or pageantry artists, so I said this needs to happen in college football, especially with all of the conference realignment and all that good stuff happening, because it gives some of those folks a shot. So let's spin this forward. I mean, we're already in hypotheticals, so let's just keep the hypotheticals rolling. So let's just say this was the thing, and this is the way it ended. Like we did this, and then this was the way that it ended for the 25 season. So that means like going into 26, you would have in world class now Spirit, Music City, and Spartans, which could catapult a group like Spartans, because now people are like, oh, that's a world class core. Like, let's try to. I want to be in a world class group, and they know they're going to get to perform on finals night automatically just because they're in. You know, I think for me, what's fascinating is how comparative those classes are. I mean, the bottom 3 of World and the top 3 of Open. I mean, yes, there's some stuff in there, but it pushes you. It pushes you not to be at the bottom. It makes you not want to not want to be relegated. And also, if you're a group like Spartans or Blue Devils B or something like that, it pushes you saying, hey, maybe we can sneak into world class. I mean, this would be the most feasible outcome for like a dual organization like Blue Devils or like Santa Clara Vanguard when they have two groups. I don't know if they ever get two groups back again, but to try to get two groups into world class. And then, you look at open all the way down to, I mean, we were talking about how much we enjoyed battalions. So, like, that class is going to be competitive. You look at the A division, Jersey Surf would probably end up being an open class in a year. So with Raiders and Coke Cadets. So, like, you'll have this constant push of trying to, and then you get groups like 7th Regiment and Coke Cadets who could bump themselves up. I mean, there's lots of scenarios that you could pull out of it.
I think maybe rather than if you're in the 13 through 15 range of World and the 1 through 3 of Open, rather than that automatically moving you up or down, I think that those, like maybe when World has their finals, that includes the top 3 of Open, and they go head to head. And then if they happen to finish ahead of one of those 3, they can be promoted or relegated because, I mean, because what if that, like, yeah, let's say Music City is number 2 in Open Division, but the Blue Knights are significantly better than them. You're going to give up Blue Knight's spot for Music City, who, if there would be could potentially be like a significant drop off in quality and talent. So that right there is kind of like, well, what's the point of Blue Stars or Blue Knights doing all of this work when they know that they're not going to, like, would they tank? Is it going to be like an NBA team where they just start sitting everybody out because they know they're not going to have a shot?
Yeah,
So I think that would kind of add to the.
I use the 3 because that's what
Mhm.
English Premier League does. Like their
Yeah.
divisions, they do the bottom 3 and top 3. You can even make it lower to like, 1. Like you're in that
Mhm.
last spot.
I think 3 makes sense though because you meddled in the lower division.
Yeah, that's kind of what
So
I was thinking
you're
too.
getting rewarded for meddling in your division.
Isn't that how they do it in WGI?
Yeah, WGI, you medal, there's no relegation, but if you
medal the year before
in guard,
you move up.
You move up. You don't do it in German.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea. Maybe.
The only thing I don't like about head to head, if I was thinking about it, is that if one judge completely annihilates your ability, you know what I mean? Like that's always I always think about it. It's that's one thing about if we're talking poking holes in this whole thing anyway, is the subjectivity of the activity that we do. It's very based on you have different judges and different scores and all that kind of stuff. So that
you
can
would
always
have to reformat how finals would go. So like you would, and then I'm spinning this off the top of my head. So like, because it typically does start on Monday. So like Monday, you might have to do like Monday, Tuesday is open, as A class prelims and finals, and then Wednesday, Thursday is open class prelims and finals, and then Friday you could take your, if you wanted to do kind of what Zach said on Friday,
That could be like your semifinals.
You could take or you could take your top 3 from A and your bottom 3 from Open, and that's a mini show. So like those 6 go head to head, top 3 move to Open, bottom 3 move to A, and then at the night show you can do the same thing with the top 3 of Open and the bottom 3 of World. So by the end of Friday night, you have your divisions for next year set, and then Saturday can be your true finals with the top 12.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's ways you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Initially, I mean, you could. It'll be the same thing if you just said top 12
Hmm.
are in world class, and then you put those next three in open.
Well, you
Um,
could do like if you really wanted, because I was thinking about, I was like, well, you can do 12, 12, and 12
yeah,
because there's like
there's
and
36 this year.
yeah, and then it's even. But then I'm thinking like, well, what if more cores are added, and how do you make sure that
Yeah.
kind of stuff? But I mean,
I
Hmm.
mean, for WGI, your biggest class is A class most of the time. Now that's guard. Percussion has changed. Percussion, there's a lot of open and world groups. There's not a lot of A class. There's a lot of A class classic groups, but not a lot of A class independent groups. It's weird for WGI.
I think that a lot of those independent A groups only do independent A for like a year or two, and then they move up,
Yeah,
or they
yeah,
fold.
most of the
Most of
time, yeah.
them,
yeah,
they either move up or they fold. Seems like I don't know. It's interesting, and then like you could even add in caveats like, well, if you attend a regional and you win first overall in your region, you automatically qualify for world class or world division. Kind of add that in. That could also
Yeah,
help potentially with travel. Like if you add more regionals instead of everybody on the East Coast having to load up to go to the Texas regional, they could instead go to just Atlanta, and then that could potentially curve off some of that cost of travel as well. But then you wouldn't get all the head-to-head matchups as much.
yeah, yeah. That there's the I watch a lot of disc golf, as you can tell my hat too, but they do things where like different events are worth more
Hmm.
points. So like to get into the playoffs, you have to have so many points, but then like there's some events that are like 1.5 value or or two or something like that. That way it gets some groups to get up there. But you can also do point values on things too. That'd the caveat on things like 'cause that's what Premier League does too. They
yeah,
do points, but then once again, it's like poking a hole in this, which is always going to be the hole, is that this is subjective,
yeah.
and so like
That's the
you
problem.
can't ever really base it on that stuff. If a group that goes in there, the field is not very strong, and they get first, like what's that doing for everything?
Hmm.
But Will, what do you think? You've been very quiet.
Processing.
Thinking.
I hear the hamster running right now.
People not watching and listening. I'll try to fill the dead time while Will thinks. So that way it's not. We're not just sitting there waiting.
It's one of those that it could work. It would be something completely different. Um,
Hmm.
it's because now your divisions are based off of achievement. You would almost have to, if you wanted
Yes.
to implement this, you would almost have to have a startup season where all, in this case, all 36 cores are just in the same class. That way you could have a beginning ranking system or a beginning set of ranks. And then,
Either that or you'd have to use the previous year's placements.
And that's what I did
Yeah.
here was use that just for
yeah.
fun.
But I
But
would,
I mean,
I
go
would,
ahead.
that's the thing though, with, with, when we're talking about those cores sitting like 13 through 20, a staff change or a good crop of kids or something like that could completely alter like
Hmm.
how good they are. I think your best of your best are consistent. Um, so yeah, Madison good enough to make finals this year. Now can he do it on a consistent basis year after year after year? That's why I would say if you were to do this, you would almost have to have one season of okay, all hands are, all hands on deck. There's one class. There's 36 in the class, and good luck.
Yeah.
Because they're all using the same sheet anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, BDC's getting judged just like BD is. So
I think one thing that's very interesting about this is that, like, based on how you feel about things, like, what is DCI about? Is it truly the competitive aspect of it? Like you're talking about, like this is based on achievement, or is it more the pageantry and celebration aspect of it as well? And like how things are run, like that always will falter whether or not you want to see something like this or you want to keep it the way it is now. You know what I mean? Like
Well, if you're
Jersey
if,
Sheriff, like they're a great organization because they're run very well. That's why they're world class, because they do things the right way. You know what I mean? Does something like this, if you are one of the bottom three, does this, tamper into like not the spirit of the activity? You know what I mean? Like you're pushing for the wrong reasons. That could be, something that a lot of people would not like about it either.
well, if you are wanting it just for the pageantry aspect, then why give scores?
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
If you just like, it's kind of like the celebration year during COVID. Like, there's still good product on the field. I mean, I miss hearing scores read and things like that, but also I enjoyed it. So it's one of those, it's kind of like personal preference. Personally, I don't think DCI is as exciting if we take the scoring aspect out. Because you
well,
could you could
They're
cut it
not.
out to like 2 or 3 shows a season, and that's it. Like you could do your regionals and do finals week, and that's it. Because what's the point of the rest of the season? Give them more
At
rehearsal
some point,
time.
kids gonna drop out
Hmm.
because once you graduate high school and college and stuff, you're looking for some kind of competitiveness. You're not gonna get this at the Olympics.
Yeah.
but you're just not going to invest that much money
Mm-mm.
and that much time
Knowing
just
that you're
for
not.
just for the educational benefit. And I put that as a teacher, I put that in quotation marks
Yeah.
because it's. I think all four of us. The reason why we love marching band so much is because one, yeah, it gave us a place to belong, but it also gave us a competitive outlet to to strive for something. I tell people all the time, I never forget that first day I walked off my bus with my windbreaker suit on and my uniform bag on my shoulder, being a part of a team,
Hmm.
and wanting to be better. Um, and with this, I mean, you have three separate divisions. So like, yeah, you're all at the same contest, but like, there's three contests going on. So you're constantly fighting, trying to climb to get to that top three, right? Or to stay out of that bottom three. I think that says something about the push to not get relegated. Like you may not you may be okay not getting promoted, but you definitely don't want to get relegated.
Hmm. I
And
also
that's
kind of wonder if it would end up being just the same 3 course being swapped every year. Like, because it does get stagnant sometime in placements. Now, here recently, it hasn't been that way.
see, that's what I was about to say.
No, it is. It's that it doesn't seem standard because the people in those placements are just changing position,
Hmm.
but it's stagnant because that top five, the top six or so, is the same top five, the top six that it's been for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's like basically with this, does this basically mean that the bottom three and the top three switch every year?
Hmm.
So if this was the end, so this is the legitimate end of 24. That means 25 Spirit, Mystique, and Spartans would be in the 13, 14, 15 of world,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and those three would be in open. And if those were the same three after 25, then they would switch again in 26.
Like I think what is interesting, and well, I don't mean to crap on the scouts, but like, what if like, Spirit comes in and they clip Madison, and now they don't get relegated that next. You know what I mean? Like they get promoted up to world class, and then they clip Madison. Now they're in world class for the second year in a row. You know what I mean? That's kind of interesting too. Like with this for those top three in those divisions, Open and A, would this give them a jolt to like push into World and then have a good momentum to stay in Worlds? That's always, I think it's interesting too to think about.
At the you also it almost raises a question to membership now.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it is going to come down to loyalty for that member to want to stay with that organization, no matter the division. You're flip flopping back and forth, and you're somebody who wants to be world. You're going to get the same thing you get now. A lot of kids are using lower tier groups to get their year and their foot in the door, and then they go off into the higher group. Like you start out, sure, I marched Madison Scouts. I marched, I don't know, Spirit, Music City or somebody. Now look at you. You're fourth chair Carolina Crown. It's like, there won't be, the consistency is already in turmoil in the bottom groups and in a lot of these groups. But, I mean, it's even worse than indoor. Kids want to be world.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things like once you like you look at the like, oh, this is good, and then you like start peeling back what happens in the activity like would not make this function the way you would want it to, Because let's say that you were the Blue Knights and you get relegated, are you going to stay in Blue Knights? Or are you going to try to jump over to a
right?
World Class
group? You got to spend the whole year. Could be your age out year in open class.
Yeah.
And that's tough to swallow for some kids, probably.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, a little bit of the factor of how much do you love the group that you're with, no matter what.
Well, we see some good stories, like think about like the Colts. While they had their uprises because a lot of people stayed because they liked what was going on there. But like then you look at like Blue Knights, where they had a couple bad years and it seemed like everyone just kind of the culture was gone there. So that's definitely part of it too, I think.
Realistically, though, I mean, we talked about how close Spartans, BD, and Gold is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, almost every year, one of those three, and now we're in the middle section of open class. One of those three could sneak in the world, and maybe with that push could catch and be competitive against like a Crossmore, Blue Knights, or Pacific Crest.
Because then you've got kids that are trying out for groups and they're like, oh, Spartans was already good. They were winning open class for 3 years in a row, and now they're world. Let's go there and see if we can push them into finals. And then that might possibly take away from people who, well, I was going to go to Pacific Crest, but now they're back. Now they've been relegated, so I'm going to go here, and because I know at least I can maybe be for sure in world class for a year.
That's tough in its own as well, because that's gonna decide on how many age outs you got and who's going to return. Because if those kids are the ones that got you there, they're 9 times out of 10 going to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was about to say that feeds kind of what Will was saying there. And like, what if Pacific Crest gets relegated, and then everyone jumps ship, and now they're in free fall and stuck in open class for a long time. That's that can definitely happen as well.
It could, but you hope that you build a good enough culture, and just understand like if this was to ever happen, it's like this is a possibility that could happen. I mean, I think a lot of this is coming from, we can make a lot of parallels to college football right now, where kids are jumping ship from the transfer portal, and kids leaving redshirt mid-season because of stupid stuff, and I think we're seeing a lot of that stuff, and we're kind of, because they are kids. I mean, they're 16 to 21-year-old. I mean, kids for all intents and purposes, and different things, motivate different kids to be in different areas.
Yep.
You got some kids that they want to play and they want to be first stop, and so they're going to go to a lower class group or a lower tier group to make sure they get some playing time and some shine. I mean, we're seeing it in college football right now. People are leaving predominant programs because they want their playing time.
They won't play.
Yep. Well, also, you think about the coaching carousel. The DCI staff carousel is in full
Jesus.
swing every year, it seems like. So
we did one episode when we first started this podcast where we talked about staff changes, and if you guys notice, we haven't done another one since.
too many.
Because there's so many that it would be, and it's too much.
Well, it's like because you'll have, just like players want to go with a certain coach or a staff member, kids in chorus would probably, our brass tech got promoted to brass caption head over here. Let's go with them, So, I can see that happening just as much.
It's a lot of behind the scenes the fans don't see and don't understand that happens in these organizations. Not always necessarily bad.
Finals night.
Yeah. Not necessarily like, something that get put in jail or something like that, but but there are disputes, there are disagreements to the point, it's like, look, we're gonna have to let you go, blah blah, this and this.
I mean, look what happened with cabbies. I mean,
and that happened during the season.
Crown
they're rebranding themselves. I don't know what it's going to look like, but this what color schemes that they've been using in their promotions and things of that nature. They're looking for a reform. They are completely rebranding themselves. First, I saw their percussion staff. Oh, Jay Bocook is doing their brass arrangements.
If they're rebranding, please do not do. I love you, Cavies. I love you to death, but please don't do another show about yourself. Just do something different, okay? I love y'all, but you've seen we have a lot of our friends that were former Cavies. We're talking about almost everyone we interviewed has been a Cavie. Just try something different. And not game on.
Get in.
Yeah.
You didn't say it like probably 100 times, man. It's either you evolve or get left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think their problem is they've tried to evolve and it just doesn't go anywhere.
But did they though?
No, exactly that, and that's the problem, and that's the same thing with my scouts. And it's like at some point, man, you can literally only hold on to so much of the old way. You can
How long
only
did it take
hold
scouts
on.
get back over in the top 12? Like 7 years, 8 years. How long was it? What was the gap?
Like the last time they was in
10?
finals was
10.
2 years after me. I think what was that 05?
No, they were in before then because they were in there when they did their anniversary show. That was the last year they made it. It's been 10 years, I think.
I don't know. Rick Harker said it. It was 10 or under.
2017 was the last time they've been in finals.
So
there we go.
7 years.
7 years.
8 years.
Mhm.
8 years. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm bad at doing values when it comes to this stuff.
It's weird.
You always got to add one more back to it.
Mhm.
You got to do.
Well, I mean, and really though, 2016 they missed it. 2017 they got back in, and then they fell out, and then they didn't get back in until this year.
I think
So
the last time they got in was that New York State of Mind. Was that that show that they did?
no, the last time they were in was the like the post-apocalypse kind of show
Mhm.
when
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
the mohawk hats
Yeah,
on
the
and
big
stuff.
old thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that now. God, that was 2017. Jesus.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
God.
So, but yeah, it would be interesting. I think it would. I think it would amp up the competition towards the bottom of those divisions. Um, just like I said, just to keep from being relegated, because you don't want to be relegated. You don't. You just
No.
you know, like it's not a good look.
I would say one of the other things about this, like if I'm thinking about it, like, you know, Zach, I think Zach mentioned it, or I said it might have been you, but like if Blue Knights Pacific and Crossmen hop over, or they get relegated, right?
Mhm.
And Spirit, Mutiny, and Spartans go up, what would be the possibility of someone in open class being able to jump those 3 cores that just got relegated? You know, that's something too. Like, would you always just get the same
I
cores?
think
Like,
BDB could. I think Academy could. Because Academy's been there before. I think if you went to a system like this, I think BDB would be smaller but better. I think they would. I don't know personally, so I could be spitballing this. So we've had some BDB folks watch one of our latest videos. So if you watch this one, let me know what you think. But for real, I feel like BDB is a good training ground. They try to teach a lot of the good things for those folks to step up in the role at BD. Now, the regular Blue Devils gets people all over the world. So I don't know how many slots are open for those Blue Devil B folks, but I think if they in SCVC also, if they were to ever come back, I think those two groups would probably take a step in take another step up to try to fight for that top 3 spot. Just to be like, all right, we're in the world. So I think some folks would step up their game a little bit. You know, if they felt like they had a shot.
yeah.
You know, because we know BDB could beat Spartans, and I think Gold could beat Spartans on a good day. So, like, you know, you're legitimately talking about 6 or 7 groups in open that could finish in that top 3.
I mean, yeah, all I gotta do is clip one person in that,
Mhm.
you know, like in that top 3, you know, a couple people.
Probably the same for A.
Yeah.
Now, A to open, that might be where you would see some of that stagnant. But I mean, Jersey Surf, if they just wanted, I think if they wanted to, they could finish higher.
Yeah. I mean, it's a culture thing for them, right? You know,
Mhm.
they're big on the fun and, you know.
Wait,
So
what is it? Is this based off of score?
this is based off of the last power rankings from DCI.
Oh, power ranking.
Yeah. So like the average 3 scores. So like Academy scored higher than the Spartans did the last night, but their average overall, Spartans was higher than the Academy. So there's some caveats here and there about that stuff too.
That's why I said if you were to do this, you would have to just have 1 year of just everybody's in the same class.
Yeah.
That way you could, you know.
That would be fun though, man.
But yeah, because now we're not just talking about okay, who's in the top 3 or who's in the top 6. You're like, all right, who's going to be sitting 15th and 16th? Who's going to be left out of world class, and who's going to be left out of open?
Yeah.
Like now you got a bunch of other storylines happening for a year where you're not, you know, wait, you know what? We're not one of the top 15 or one of the top 12, but we might be at the top 15.
That's one of the, I think, cool things about this, you know. Like I said, I just made it. I'm not like trying to promote it or anything. Like I've been poking holes all through it the whole time, but it makes you pay attention to other cores and other divisions.
Yeah.
Like, Oh man, dude, Spartans are sitting first in open division. They might be promoted to world class. What do they got going on there? Man, I'm going to watch an open class show now.
So
Like
what?
things like that.
So what happens? This is the end of the 24. This
Yeah.
is how it set up, and this is how it ended. 25 season coming around, but you got 3 new groups that are trying to get in. Where do they go?
This would be like if we started this relegation system starting in 25. So this is what would be set for the 25 season.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would happen is that you would go through, and then at the very end of the 25 season, this might look completely different, right?
Yeah, but he's
So-
asking, what if there are
I'm
3
saying
new groups? Like
exactly.
3 groups that are not on this list. We get
Oh,
3
they
new
go-
cores.
They go automatically to A.
No matter what.
Yeah. Oh, see?
So they're
Right here. Chords added in subsequent rails would be added to the A division. So that way, then if
Is it
you
possible
catch
that-
fire.
so they can't
Is
get
it possible that
bumped.
they get promoted in the middle of the season?
No, this is all at the end. So like you.
So no
if
matter
you're
what,
top
they can
three-
only get first in their division. That's it.
So they get. So let's say that you're a new core, right?
Say Star of Indiana came back.
Yeah, say Star of Indiana came back. They're in A division, but they come in the top 3 in the A division. For that next season, they would be promoted to Open.
But what if they win their division by like 35 points? Like
They
they're
get
just
promoted.
shellacking everybody. You gonna make them wait till the end of the season to get promoted to Open,
You would have to.
or do you want to promote them during
Because
season?
that would be the thing that I was wondering. Because
I think there could be a special
magically,
circumstance.
because magically think about it. Because think about it, like if this was I don't know 23, and we're doing this for 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? SCV just came back. They're gonna dog wash that whole A division. It's gonna be
Yes.
at least 40-something points between them and whoever's second.
But I also think if you did that, that gets messy. Like, if you promote mid-season, do you relegate mid-season too, or do you just wait? Because then that's where it gets messy. Like,
That
I
was
guess you
I
could
was
say-
just I was just worried because I was like, man,
Yeah.
that'd be
WGI does it.
tough. That'd be so
Do they
tough.
demote people though?
Do they? Yeah,
I
we
know
got
they
Yeah.
promote.
You
No, I
get-
know they promote people, but do they tell people you need to go down
Yes.
a class?
Yes.
They can.
You
Yeah.
can.
Okay.
You can get promoted in season. Yes.
I think this would be a good if we want to add like a little asterisk to it, like, let's say Vanguard, and they're just knocking on people's doors like the Grim Reaper and just going in. I think you can promote, but I don't think you can relegate down. I think you just promote
Until
up.
the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to think about that.
I mean that was just the question I was wondering.
That's a
'cause
good question, though.
Yeah.
Because like if this was set in stone, we was like, all right, this is cool and everything, but now ACV's come back.
Maybe
Yeah.
you
I
have
get
to.
it. I get they start in A, but God dog, they gonna beat
Yeah,
the brakes off of
you're right.
everybody in that class.
Maybe you still start in A, but you use regionals for promotion zones.
Now that makes sense.
Yeah,
Let them stay in
that'd
that
be-
class until what, Texas
So
or
would
something
all
like that?
regional competitions be just everybody's in the same class?
Well, there's really only 2 regionals. I mean, there's the Southeast and the Southwest now.
Yeah,
Because like Allentown's not even considered a regional. So you got 2 weeks. You got those 2 weeks to get promoted. That's when you settle your classes. And it's a little bit more cut and dry in DCI, honestly.
Well, there you have it.
So I don't know. It's definitely something different.
And if there's a tie, you have a either a drumline battle or a spin-off.
You got to do a drumline. You got to do a drumline battle.
A spin-off.
I'd rather have a spinoff.
A spinoff would be
That'd
cool.
be ridiculous.
You got to draw something out of a hat to know what you're going to spin. You got to pick your people. It'd be like penalty kicks, right? You pick your best people that toss eights. And you got to.
No, they have to spin a wheel for a random song, and they have 10 minutes to create a routine to that song.
Yo, have you seen? Sorry, this is a complete side tangent, but the improv dancers, where they get us like they don't know what song's gonna pop up.
Oh, like the salsa dancers?
Yes,
Yes.
and a song comes on and they start. That's like if you
Just
not
pure
watch
vibes.
that, dude, it is amazing. Like, sorry, that just made me think. It's so cool.
Interesting.
So lots of thoughts, and there's so many different ways that you can do it. Because I've always thought, our state marching band stuff should go by skill set and resources. There's obviously some groups in our state that don't have the resources that other groups got, or maybe that they have them, but they don't want to use them for that, which is completely fine. Especially with the way that it's going. But that can compete against people with like resources. In our system is based off of that vaguely. With the school size, I mean, it's basically saying, bigger school, you should have more resources, but we know
That ain't
Then
always
you have
the
Murray
case.
High School.
it ain't always the case.
That is opposite, a complete lie up here.
Mm-hmm.
There are schools up here that are considered like, I want to say like 1A or 2A that are like freaking Lafayette. How? Make that make sense.
Their entire
Well,
school is in band.
You look at Murray
I was
High.
to say Murray High, man, same way.
Yeah.
Just
Like, was it like 70% or 60-something% or something like that? It's like in band.
Yep. And it's crazy too because they're Class A and BOA.
Yeah.
Which is school size.
well, because their band size pumps them up classes.
Here,
Got to.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
So
Meanwhile, we're considered a larger school, and we don't even have a band room. We're on our third band room of the year.
They have a band room. It's just being reconstructed. It's a thing. But so yeah, there's there's not one way to do it, and there's not one right way to do it. It's for people who are just like, this system's broken. Well, every system's broken. You can find a hole.
Yeah, you can find holes everywhere, man.
There's
always holes
in every system. It's I've kind of found it a little fun to be in our state circuit and then go to mid states because they think about think about stuff in two different ways, and if you can collect those and you're like, okay, well, if I do some of this and some of this, I can have a pretty good show that works out in both. And and I don't know, and one's by school size and one's by the hybrid system, so it's and we're just happen to be in a deaf class for both of them, but here we are. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not against it because I think it fosters competition. I think it makes people not want to be at the bottom. I think it makes people less complacent.
Yep.
That's one reason why the Premier League in soccer is what it is because they're always competing to not get relegated, and and if you could somehow I don't know how, but somehow tie financial restitution or reward for being promoted into upper class. I mean, money's a motivator.
Yep.
So, but let us know in the comments below. What do you think about the system? Do you think it work? What changes would you make? Do you think everything's fine the way that it is? I mean, I like how it is now, but a twist or a turn every now and then couldn't hurt anybody. But yeah, let us know that in the comments below. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit all the buttons, share all the links, do all the things with all the technology.
I gotta get our Instagram going, man. I'm slacking. This new job, I feel like I've been hit by 18 fire hoses at one time.
Yeah, you've had some stuff, some things. Yay, instructional rounds.
Dude, I can't tell you how busy that day is going to be for me, because we have those, then we have our faculty meeting where we go over that and our data, and then I have class. And fortunately, we were supposed to have an interview that day, but it got moved to the day before, so I was about to be destroyed that day. I'm telling you, man, it would have been bad.
Those days are not fun when they'll happen like that. So.
No. Fall break cannot get here fast enough.
We almost there.
Amen.
It's finals week, so I should hopefully should cruise through the week. We'll see how it goes. But fellas, you got anything else?
Stay safe.
Yeah.
Yes. Please stay safe.
If you don't have a good umbrella, probably go buy one.
Or a house that will keep you safe.
Oh, well, yeah.
Not a whole house. Buying a house. Let me get one.
So, well, for Chris, Zach, and Will, my name's Sid. This has been another episode of On the Back Cash. Make sure you guys take care. Be safe down there in the southeast. And do all you can. If you're one of those helpful people, there's plenty of places where you can donate to help those folks recover, because they got a long road ahead. And it hopefully doesn't get worse, even though it doesn't look good right now. So, all right. But go up, watch a Martian Man show this Saturday. Cheer on some kids.
If they aren't rained out.
If they're not rained out. I know I need to do some BOA watching. I hadn't seen a show yet.
There's some.
I've only seen the show that I am working with. That's all I've seen.
Yeah.
There are some tasty ones out there. I will say. I do know. I might actually try to find it, because I think Chris might like it. Visually. I was watching it and I was like, bro, this is actually gonna be nice when they get this clean. Hopefully they can. And you'll recognize where they got it from. Watch a Castle Marching Band this year. Castle Marching Knights.
Okay.
Castle
Indiana.
I was about to say.
Put that on my watch later.
So
there's some tight ones out there.
So,
might be Vandergrift's year.
Uh-oh. Are they actually going?
Listen.
Come on, Vandegrift.
Avon.
Catholic Texas didn't go last year.
I hope they go.
I don't know what their mascot is, but I hope it's the Velociraptors.
Oh, Jesus.
Good Lord.
The Vandegrift Velociraptors. I mean, or Vipers. I don't
Let's
know.
get out of here. We're over an hour. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
Oh, my God. All right,
Dut out.
Take care. We
Dut out.
Yeah, we're all tired. You can tell. Here it is.